I clicked it.
Welcome back to another episode of Building the Pride. I'm your host, Drew, and I'm joined, as usual, by my co-host, Mike. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Drew. Still kind of recovering from vacation, but mostly back to normal. How about you?
I'm doing great. I am ready to do the show, even though we are in what is known as the doldrums. I can't wait for mini camp and especially the preseason.
Yeah,
That is going to be wonderful, in my opinion. So, really looking forward to that.
yeah. All this work in the off season to build the team, and we're like, just get on the field already.
Get on the field. Let's go. We did the draft. Come on.
If we did the draft, what's up, Joey? Good to see you, buddy.
Oh, it's Joey. Joey's in chat. Joey, if
Yeah,
you've got any questions, throw them out there, buddy. Even if you can only listen,
yeah.
we would appreciate it.
We can always mailbag anything, right? So
Mm-hmm.
throw questions out in the comments, all that jazz. So I think on the docket, we had PFF release their player rankings alongside their positional group rankings. We went over the position groups last week, and the Lions were all over the top side of those rankings, which is awesome to see. And then, so I figure we go over the individual player rankings, each position group today. But anything else going on in the league? I mean, anything else going with the Lions?
There are some things going on in the league, and let me
What's up,
bring
Doctor
that up.
D?
So one of the things that I saw, and this is just kind of I think fun, is that Josh Allen of the Jacksonville Jaguars has decided to change his name to better represent. Hey, what's up, Dr. Detroit? His entire family. So he will be known now as Josh Hines Allen.
Interesting.
So now
All right.
there will be less of those. There will be less of those. Oh, Josh Allen from the Jaguars or Josh Allen from the Bills. Who do we mean?
Yeah.
Kind of,
Are you talking about Josh Allen from the Jacksonville Allens?
Yeah. Goodness gracious.
Heinz Allens. That sounds very German.
Um, he's not.
At least the Heinz part, right?
Sure. I can tell you, Heinz Allen. I don't think he may be German. I don't know, but I would doubt it. But okay, so he changed his name. That's fine. That's interesting. We did talk last week about the NFL losing that lawsuit when it comes to NFL Sunday Ticket. Outside of that, let's just see here.
So Joey asked, any favorite free agent or trade targets?
Yeah, I had some, but they're all gone now because other teams thought the same thing that So the guy that I've wanted on the Lions for several years was Calais Campbell, who had stops with Baltimore, and I believe he was with Atlanta last season, if I'm not mistaken. And I thought he would be a great player to bring in for like the veteran DT spot. But they signed DJ Reader, so hard to argue.
Yeah.
But I thought that I thought even bringing in Calais Campbell as just like another like 1 year rotational guy to have in the locker room would be an excellent idea. There are plenty of what might the Lions do, like on a trade market type of scenario. And I've seen like Brandon Ayuk's name floated around, and I talked about that a little bit while you were on vacation, Mike. And I really like Brandon Ayuk, but you can't trade for him without giving him a huge deal.
Right.
And like they probably
would have to give up something too, right? So we're probably giving up JMO in a first.
That was the exact
something
trade.
Like that.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah. And so I said, yeah, do it. I mean, like if my mindset as the front office was we are going to push for a Super Bowl right now.
Yeah.
I would probably make that trade. I think he'll probably end up re-signing with San Francisco, and all this is just negotiation posturing.
Sure.
But our picks are probably going to be in the mid to late 20s. Hence, they're not
Hopefully
quite as
30s.
valuable, which is still great, like, because that means you're
Yeah.
winning a lot of games. But and JMO, for as much as I like JMO and for like all the potential that he has not achieved that yet. And I think that that's probably a worthy trade. And Brandon Ayuk as the X wide receiver, I think would just be an almost perfect fit. Hard to find an offense that he wouldn't be good in, but like based upon like what Jared Goff wants to do, like Brandon Ayuk would be a great fit. Like he works over the middle of the field. He had like a 75 catch, 1,300 yard season last year. I mean, that's great. Like he's excellent after the catch. And like I've always felt there's tension between what JMO is good at and what Goff is good at, and that just doesn't exist with Ayuk. But like you have to pay him top of the market money. But then I think the Lions would have one of the best wide receiver cores in the entire league, and I don't know who you could. I mean, you would
think
have
they would
to
have the best.
Well, I mean, you
St. Brown and him together
him.
is better than anybody else, right?
Well, I mean, like Tyreek Hill and Waddle, but if you add Laporta into the Lions, like, okay, that's better, and like I do think that there are maybe individually better receivers like Justin Jefferson. I still think the Bears have an amazing wide receiver core this year. Like, but like you are top 3 positional units in the NFL. But I don't think that is the way that the front office is going to approach roster building. I think that they are like, nope, we are draft and stash, develop our guys. The guys that work out, we're going to pay. I think we're starting to see that. And that is the way we do things here now. Yeah. That is the way that we do things here now. And we want to be a 10 to 13 win team for the next 10 years. And if the best thing that can happen to the Detroit Lions football franchise, in my opinion, is that they go on a sustained period of winning. Does that mean to win a Super Bowl? Maybe not. But like putting yourself in the position.
It does.
Putting yourself
That's the best thing that can happen to any team. You win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, but like, okay, so let me ask you this. Maybe this is what we talk about tonight. The Detroit Lions win a Super Bowl in the next 3 years, but then they go back to being a 5-win team for the next 5, like, or something like that. Like if they built the roster in a way where all their chips were in the middle and they couldn't sustain the kind of team that this team has developed into, I don't think one Super Bowl win, even though I would love it, is worth, like, I think the better thing for the franchise when we are talking about the overall history of this franchise and like changing the mindset of like what the Detroit Lions are and have been is let's have a decade of like making the playoffs, and like if you want to,
man, I'd push back on that. Like championships are where it's at, right? So
yeah, but like
having not won anything since 1957, I would go through another 8 years of Matt Millen if I got a championship. We got a parade and downtown. I mean,
I would go back to being a Ravens fan, but
I mean, so think about it like the Cubs, right? They went 110 years ish from World Series championship to World Series championship. And in those times, they had good teams, and they had some actually quite good teams bouncing around in there. But like, I don't want that to be the Lions. I want to see a championship, right? That is the ultimate goal, and the goal isn't to be really good. Do I want to be the Pittsburgh Steelers? Only because they won the championship. I don't want to be the Pittsburgh Steelers, make the playoffs like 16 years out of 18, but never get more than 1 or 2 games in and never win a championship. I don't want that. Like, that's just continuous disappointment, right? Oh, we're so, I would rather go win, have that parade, and then have to try to rebuild. I don't think we will because we've got if we win in the next this year or next year, our guys are still under contract. I don't think it's going to be a big fall off. It's not like LA where all those guys were at the end of their contract after their Super Bowl and then they had to rebuild. So like I would definitely want a Super Bowl over better than mediocre because that's kind of what you're saying is like, oh, we're good, but we just can't do it. It's always going to be a disappointing end, and I would not want that.
Yeah. So to me, if you make the playoffs, and you've made this exact point that I'm going to make, is that anytime that you make the playoffs, you have a chance to win a Super Bowl,
Sure.
right? So I would rather give myself the chance for the next 10 years of going to win the Super Bowl. And like, yeah, I mean, but like, say they don't, because most, 31 teams in the NFL every year do not win the Super Bowl, right?
Right.
But like, let's just say that they make the playoffs for the next 10 years and they don't win a Super Bowl. You are at least a winning program that probably has division titles,
You're the Buffalo Bills.
yeah, you're throwing, but like, you are not a laughing stock of the NFL anymore. And this team has been a laughing stock of the NFL
True.
my entire life. And one Super Bowl win, especially if you go back to like making the playoffs every third year or something like that, is not something that's like, oh, but they were Super Bowl champions 4 years ago. So like grit, like that's just not enough. What's up, Zakwa? But like,
Yeah, I'm kind of curious what Joey and Dr. D and Zakwa think on that because I I want to win a championship, even if the next 5 years we are 3 to 5 win teams, and it takes a while to get out of that post championship, post parade hangover, right? I would rather do that and know that my next half a decade is going to be straight garbage than have 10 years of maybe we get there but never do.
yeah, but that's just it. Like, you don't know, right?
Sure.
So like, you have a better chance to win a Super Bowl if you build the team to make the playoffs every year than you do by pushing your chips all in the middle. And then, because what happens? Say you make the Ayuk trade, right? And
Yeah.
you're like, okay, they're all in. Cap space is used up. Draft picks have
We've got a
been,
2 year window this year,
yep,
next year, and then
yep.
shit's got to make
And then
sense.
you gotta make it happen right now. You don't do it. You want to go back to being in sports, professional sports purgatory, which is like middle of the road being good. I don't.
No.
So like, I don't think that like, and I think that this is probably the reason that like the team has not done this yet, is that like, I don't believe that they think that like pushing all in on some big trade or or deviating from their plan, which, let's face it, seems to be working pretty well, like, is the right way to go about maintaining this team's chances at winning a Super Bowl. They were a half away from making the Super Bowl and playing a team that they had beaten the first week of the season.
Yeah.
So like, is that the same team? No, they had Kelsey and Chris Jones back, but like, they did beat them,
Yeah.
so that doesn't, mean something,
It
but
gives you
like,
confidence going into the game too as a player.
right, exactly. So like, but like, I think it would be fun to trade for Brandon Ayuk. I don't know that it's the best move, because if he sprains an ankle, or Jared Goff goes down, or Amon-Ra St. Brown gets the flu at the wrong time, or whatever it is, they're you don't have the players, like, and you get them back, but you didn't have them when you needed them, and like, that's a huge factor in the NFL, and like something that the Lions have been very fortunate with the last several years, is that they have not had a lot of injuries or players missing games, and like, now every year they get deeper, every year these players get more experience and that kind of thing, and like, maybe there is a time to go all in on a player. I don't think it's now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I was going, and Zako is kind of on my side on that one, but like where I was going was, like if I can guarantee a Super Bowl and guarantee the next 5 years are garbage, I would do that Super Bowl every time. Right. If there was a
Sure.
guarantee, like I knew the future and like, all right, I can get a Super Bowl this year, but for the next 5 years, we are going to win no more than 3 games. I'll be like, bring on the parade.
Yeah,
Right.
and if I knew the lottery numbers, I'd go buy a ticket, but like that's
Right.
just not real, So I mean, like,
That's all I'm saying is like if I had the choice of a Super Bowl plus 5 shitty years or 10 years of making the playoffs but never winning the Super Bowl, I'm going to do the Super Bowl in the Matt Millen, nonsense every time.
but like
Uh,
making the playoffs is and like, hey Kathy, right? I mean,
yes.
I would go to Vegas too. Like, let's retire early, but like in the real world, if you make the playoffs, you have a
Your
chance
odds
to win
go
a
up,
Super Bowl,
right? There's
right?
always a shot.
Right.
Look at the New
And
York
like,
Giants. They were the bottom seed both of the years that they won the Super Bowl.
right.
Snuck in the playoffs. They got hot at the end of the season. They were hot at the right time and kept rolling and had parades in downtown New York. So, like, I would definitely, like, philosophically, I would want to set myself up for long term because, like I said, like you just said, if you can get in, there's always a shot. I did notice that I've seen some stuff on there about the Lions have told the agents for free agent wide receivers, we're not interested. We're not changing our wide receiver room. So I'm assuming that it's probably both on the trade side and the free agent side. But that's one of the rumors that I've seen floating around about on the trade free agent market is we're not interested on the wide receiver side. Go talk to somebody else.
I do well. I tend to think that that's true for a minute.
Until the
But
offer
like,
comes through.
I mean, like, but no one's ever. I just don't think that anybody's gonna be like, "No, I hate our wide receivers. Fuck them. They're just not good enough."
Yeah.
I would trade or cut all of them immediately if I had better. I mean, like that the direct 180, which you also never hear,
Right.
But like coaches and GMs and stuff are going to have absolute faith in their players on their squad until they don't.
Yeah.
And that's fine. It's a business.
Until that trade happens out of the blue and you never saw that coming.
100%, dude. Like, and like, I can't remember who it was, Paul George or somebody in the NBA was recently just like, oh no, I want to be with the Clippers. I want to be with the Clippers. And he signs with the Sixers, like stuff happens, like, and we're not privy to it. And like, I've realized a lot doing this podcast that I say like about 1,000 times a show, and I'm trying to get better at it. I'm so sorry.
Verbal crutches are normal, Drew. Don't feel bad about it.
I just think so slowly that I have to. It doesn't like the words are up here, but they don't get down to my mouth on time. So I have to put in.
It's all about timing.
Words. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so I do think I think JMO is a fine type of player to have on your roster while he's developing. I think that Amon-Ra St. Brown is, an excellent wide receiver. Sam Laporta is an excellent wide receiver or pass catcher. And you have one spot that isn't filled by some kind of cheap or excellent talent. Or in the case of, Sam Laporta, cheap and excellent. So I do think I will not be surprised whatsoever if the Detroit Lions go out into next year's offseason and they target a wide receiver in free agency and they draft a wide receiver in the first or second round. I just would not be surprised at all.
Yeah.
But they are not going to say, yeah, I'm really disappointed with the job that we did bringing in more wide receivers than, and they probably
this is the time that they're building up their players.
Yeah. Right? I mean, like, it doesn't do anybody any good to be like, oh, the coach or the GM hates me. And, oh, now I have to like get over this obstacle.
It was like Mark Brunell, right? He was quoted saying something like Goff was the most accurate quarterback he'd ever seen. And I'm like, you played in the Brady era. Like, you played when Drew Brees was playing and Peyton Manning was playing. And Aaron Rodgers is still, and Goff is the most accurate player you've ever seen in your life. Are you? No, you're boosting his, you're boosting confidence. You're showing that confidence in your players, and it's just coaches doing coach things at that point. So, and I think the GMs are kind of doing the same thing when it comes to, oh yeah, we're real happy with our wide receiver crew. I wouldn't be surprised if next week there is some sort of depth move, right, for our wide receivers. Even though we're happy with them and we wouldn't trade them for anything, but we will maybe have a little competition.
Yeah, I mean, right now, if I had to pick one position on the field that I think was the absolute weakest, I would pick X wide receiver. But I don't even know that that's a bad thing, to be honest, because I still think there's only so many balls that Jared
Yeah.
Goff throws in a season.
Yeah,
And 60% of them are going to go to Sam Laporta and Amon-Ra St. Brown. And like, if I have Khalif
20% are gonna
Raymond,
go to Gibbs.
right, and if the rest of that goes to Gibbs and JMO and Khalif Raymond and whoever ends up at X, like, all right, I'm just not that. I'm just
Zaqua's
not
got
that
a
reasonable.
bold take here. 2,000-yard pass catchers and 2,000-yard rushers next year.
So Gibbs was only like 50 yards away from having, and he missed, like, I believe he missed 2 games, and they didn't give
Yeah,
him a full workload right off the bat. It wasn't until like the Oakland game where I believe Montgomery was out, and they're like, "Here you go, kid. You get all the carries."
yeah,
And like he was like, "Neat. Watch what I can do."
yeah.
And he can do it. So like we have 2 number 1 running backs. So I think that the 2,000-yard rusher thing is just in the bag. Like, if I could put money on that today at DraftKings, yep, like I would do it. The 2,000-yard receiver thing is, I think, a little bit more difficult because I think I'm almost certain that Amon-Ra St. Brown will have
Yes.
one. But let's just go look at
Thousands a lot for a
Sandler.
tight end.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Like, unless
Yeah.
but like I'm not saying that I don't think Sam Laporta could get there, but I'm looking up his stats right now. He had 86 catches for 889 yards last year.
Yeah.
So,
It's a lot. Andy was a rookie.
right, exactly. So the question really is, like, how different is the offense than it was last year? And the answer is it's almost not different at all. Like, about the only change is Kevin Zeitler.
Yeah.
So I
Which is a
mean,
positive change
right, which
at
is a
that
good
point.
change, and like I like Zeitler because I used to watch the Ravens play a lot, and I think he'll be a good addition, and I think that helps Gibbs and Montgomery. Well, by the way, did you see the clip of Montgomery squatting 705 or deadlifting 705?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
He's a strong dude. Those
Like,
are legs,
and
man.
like, I mean, it makes a lot of sense when, like, it's like, okay, I have to move the pile now, and it's like dudes pushing against you that are twice your size. Like, there's a reason their legs look like drumsticks. But I think that I don't know that I would love to see Zaquo be right about this, but I
Oh,
also
I
don't
would
know that
too.
it's that big of a stretch. You're talking about one dude having 50 more yards rushing and one dude having 110 more yards receiving. Like, it's
So
entirely
here's why I
possible.
think it's going to be tougher than I think last year's maybe as close as we get to that. A couple of reasons. Number one, health, right? We were incredibly healthy last year. And knock on wood, we'll be incredibly healthy again this year.
Mm-hmm.
But running backs get beat up really easily, very frequently. It's a focus of our offense, which means they'll probably get hit and beat up more than most teams' running backs just because of the volume of workload. So I think health is a big piece of that. The other big piece that I'm really curious to see play out is how does how do defenses respond to Laporta? Last year he was a rookie. They didn't really know anything about him. They didn't realize that he was as good as he was and like what our offense did and how it focused on him. And I think this year is going to be interesting to find out, does he get the freedom that he had last year as a rookie that they didn't have much tape on him, right? Does he have that freedom? Do the running backs stay healthy? Um, does do people figure out Ben Johnson's offense? Right. I mean, that was one of the things that McVay happened to McVay in his early career was people kind of figured him out, and then he had to kind of go back and reinvent it a little bit. And then he did that a lot with Stafford because he had a totally different type of quarterback, so he could reinvent the offense a little bit and played. They won the Super Bowl, right? So the question is, do we have to do that as well? And can Ben Johnson also reinvent himself, keep things fresh, or are they going to figure it out? So those are the two things I think it's going to be actually harder this next year to do what we did this past year. Sophomore slump, figuring it out, those kinds of things are potential. But I also think that Ben Johnson's brilliant. And I think he will be able to keep people on their toes. And I think he will be able to keep the momentum going and having just crazy plays drawn up that people don't expect, and they're going to be successful. I know, was it Buffalo Bills defensive coordinator said the hardest person for him to game plan against was Ben Johnson in our offense, which is awesome. So I think we've got like a lot of potential, but I think it's gonna be tough for those reasons. But I think we might be able to get there.
I'll put a steak dinner on it right now if you want to.
No, only because you still owe me a burger from last year's bet, and injuries play so much of a part of it. If one of those guys got hurt, right? If Amon-Ra St. Brown goes down with a knee injury in game whatever, it doesn't matter. Like game 7, there's no way you're going to win that steak, and it's not going to be your fault at all. So. That's the only reason. I feel there's too much. We got really good and lucky with the injuries last year, and I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to win a steak dinner because somebody got hurt that I don't want to get hurt. But not that it is going to, actually cause someone to get hurt. I don't believe that part. But
alrighty.
Yeah. You want to take a peek at some of the positions and see where our Lions fall?
Yeah, I'll take a peek.
All right. Let's do this. Get rid of that. Maybe scroll that at the bottom. Start with quarterbacks. And these are PFF rankings. These are not our rankings. Where do you think Goff falls in the 32 starters? And I don't know if you've seen these yet or not, so you may already know.
I purposefully did not look at them.
Excellent.
I'll say 14th.
14th. They kind of put them in tiers. So tier 1 is the Mahomes tier.
Sure.
And I totally agree with that. Number 2 is the elite tier. They've got Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. Tier 3, they got postseason caliber quarterbacks, basically the guys that can win if you get in. If you can get in the postseason, you can win with them. Herbert, Prescott, Stafford. I would actually bump Stafford up.
No kidding.
Part of that's because I'm a Stafford fan, but also I do think that he's better than Dak Prescott.
So interesting.
And I think that if I was starting a team, I would take Herbert over Stafford. But if I 1 year, I would take Stafford. Aaron Rodgers at 8, Jalen Hurts at 9, Stroud at 10.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad after 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
The melting pot of starters is where we find Love, Lawrence, Purdy, Tua, Kirk Cousins, and then Jared Goff at 16. So he's in the melting pot of starters, kind of in the middle of that group.
So, I do think, I can't remember what his name is, but there is a Detroit Lions YouTuber that's just all up on Jared Goff. And tier 1 all day. Yeah. Dr. Detroit is the only person I've ever met that can make sarcasm come through the printed word. I wish I had that skill. I'm totally jealous. But
you can barely make it come through the verbal words.
I know. Well, thanks, Mike. But I mean, I do think that this is the right spot for Jared Goff. I don't know if there's a less athletic starting quarterback. David Pike. Oh God, I'd forgotten his name.
I didn't know that you were talking about him. Yeah.
So awful. And the thing is, like, Jared Goff got paid, right? So now he's probably just insufferable. But I don't know that there's a less athletic starting quarterback in the NFL than Jared Goff. If you can find me one, okay. But I'd be willing to talk about it. But
post Achilles Kirk Cousins.
yeah, they're probably right. They're probably right there. But okay, and like I have asked people who are Jared Goff supporters for years now, like, what is Jared Goff's superpower? You know, maybe Tua, that's true. Certainly smaller. You know, and I've heard things like ball placement, reading, like his reaction time, that kind of stuff. I didn't agree with the ball placement comment. I'm just saying what they told me.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched the games. So,
yeah.
But like, he certainly doesn't seem like a guy that like holds the ball too long. Like, he'll make a decision. Like, I don't know. I mean, like, but that's the reason that I think that, I mean, for as good as Jared Goff is, for like the stats that Jared Goff puts up for like his, I mean, like, I have heard that he and Ben Johnson have designed this offense together, and that like if Ben Johnson were to leave, Jared Goff could effectively teach the offense to whomever they bring in next. So but like that doesn't translate to watching him on Sundays, you know. And like I think that that's the thing about Jared Goff that where his value really lies, that I don't think that people can like look at and ascertain. So it's harder for me to evaluate Jared Goff than somebody like Josh Allen, who I can just see it rip it 60 yards down the field, 15 times a game, or Joe Burrow or somebody like that. But I athletically, and I think that like the limitations of that are the reason why he's here. Like if you look at almost every quarterback in the tiers above him, they're really good athletes. You know, or they have like elite arm talent, you know, like Matthew Stafford Matthew Stafford's not like, I'm going to run for a first down kind of a guy. Like he'll do it in a pinch, but he can rip a ball. Like he can, like there's no stadium, Philadelphia outdoors at Chicago, outdoor at Buffalo or whatever. Matthew Stafford can throw a ball that will cut through wind. Like, and there's not everybody in
We've
the NFL
seen that.
can do that. Yeah. So like, he has a very discernible quarterback trait that makes him excellent, you know, at that particular thing. And Jared Goff, whatever it is that he does well, and he certainly does things well, those don't just jump off the screen at you, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think that hurts him when somebody like ESPN or PFF or somebody's like, let's compare Lamar Jackson to Jared Goff. Okay, well, like one is like an electric, crazy, exciting quarterback, and the other one is like, I'm really good at moving the team down the field in like 6-7 yard increments.
Yeah.
You know, and he's excellent at that. So I think this is probably accurate, but like I think that he's in the absolute best situation that he could have hoped to have been in Detroit. Agree. So, and like, kudos to the Lions. I don't know that this gets said enough. Like they've sculpted their offensive game plan to fit their players.
Yes.
As opposed to,
and not all coaches and stuff do that.
Correct. Right? You know, and
they're like, we run a 4-3 or we run a 3-4 or we run this. We're the West Coast offense. And then also you got these players like, that's not me. Like, well, you're on the team, so it's going to have to be you for a while. And then it just doesn't work.
So like when the Denver Broncos traded for Russell Wilson and then extended him, and then the next season went out and got Sean Payton, I was like, what are you doing? Like that is the worst. That is the worst pairing that they are complete opposites. And like, you see this now, Denver had to cut him and take the biggest dead money hit you've ever seen by like millions of dollars and
tens of millions,
you know, and they have to go out and they have to go get all new players. They have to go get players that do the things that like the scheme wants, as opposed to coming in and saying, these who our players are, this is what we're going to do to put our players in the best position. And I get that Sean Payton won a Super Bowl and is considered an all-timer for some reason, but like, Like I just don't get
He
it.
also had an all-timer quarterback,
Right. Like Drew Brees
right?
was amazing for a long time. So
I
that does.
would. I only remember the back end of Dan Marino's career,
Mm.
but I would put Drew Brees as one of the best pure passers in the history of the game. Just beautiful. I mean, and the dude was like, I don't know, 5'3". He was
He was
not a big dude.
he was not large.
He was like what, 5'9", 5'10" ish. He was real short, but he threw the ball long and accurate and straight and tight spot. It was a beautiful ball. He was one of the best throwers I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, he
Um,
went to Purdue, so I got to watch him in the Big Ten
yeah.
for like 3 years. And I think that he ended up going in the second round to the Chargers, and
Um,
then
yeah.
like his rookie
Got
deal
hurt.
was up. Well, he did get hurt. He had the shoulder thing.
Yep. And then they're
And
like, no, we're not going to do that.
yeah, we're just gonna let you walk. And he walks right into New Orleans, and then like Sean Payton, that just happened to be like, oh, you know what? Sean Payton wants me to do the thing that I'm really good at,
Yeah.
So it like worked out.
So one of the things that PFF has here for, on golf, actually, pause that. I will say what you brought up Stafford throwing it into wind. My favorite moment of those was when we were playing. I believe it was Buffalo in Buffalo, and just a blizzard,
Mm.
and they had to like get the snow blowers out there just to see the yard lines and shit. And Stafford to Calvin on like a 40-yard dime downfield, and Calvin comes up with snow in his face mask. I don't know if
Mhm.
you remember that. It was classic, one of my all-time favorite plays, just from a fun aspect. But anyway,
I'm very happy for you.
yes, yes. So they mentioned Goff's play under pressure and outside of structure continues to leave a lot to be desired when compared with other top NFL quarterbacks. That was the other big piece to why they've got him here. I would
Well,
have put
he
him a
can't
little
get
bit
out of
higher.
pressure. I mean, like if he gets
Yeah.
out of structure, the whole thing is wrong.
Yep. I would have put him a little higher than this. Granted, I would have put Cousins higher as well. Like I probably would have put him higher than Purdy. I'm not sure. Love had a good 7 or 8 game. He had a great 7 or 8 games, but the first half of the season he wasn't anything special. This seems a little high for him. Um, but yeah, I'd put Goff in that 13 to 16 range. So this seems relatively correct for me.
Um, the thing about Purdy is that oh, he's been the NFL's most efficient quarterback by EPA per play for like the last 2 years. And that's just like Jared Goff, like that's not going to jump off the page at you.
Yeah. Well, it also happens when you have the best offensive players around you in the NFL.
Yeah, it does. I mean, but like you can say the exact same thing for Jared Goff in Detroit, right?
Yes, and that's why he had the stats that he did last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his EPA per play wasn't as high.
Right.
Running backs, where do you think? Well, spoiler alert: Christian McCaffrey's number one.
That is not a spoiler.
I know. Where do you think Gibbs and Monty are? Throwing
I'll
this question out
say
to the comments too.
I'll say Montgomery is 10, and I'll say Gibbs is 11.
10 and 11. All right. So we got McCaffrey, Henry, Taylor, Chubb. They've got Bijan Robinson at 5, which surprised me considering I thought Gibbs had a better rookie year than Bijan did.
They had almost identical rookie seasons.
Yeah. Barkley, Brees Hall, Aaron Jones, and then Gibbs
Okay,
at
Gibbs at
9.
9.
Um, um,
Isaiah
Kyron
Pacheco.
Williams
Isaiah Pacheco
at
is
15.
better than David Montgomery. All right,
I'd put Kyron Williams in the top 10 if
Let's-
that was me.
I know you would, but I
I
would.
mean, he was the
DeAndre
number one running back in like the last 2/3 of the season last year.
Okay.
And the Swift, so they got Swift at 20. Where the hell? There he is, 23.
I mean, I think that I could find 5. Hey Pat,
Hey
I
Pat.
think I could find 5 players that I prefer David Montgomery to than on this list. Who wrote this article, Mike?
This was It's PFF.
It's right there. Thomas Valentine. I saw it. Left-hand side, right
Oh
below.
yeah, right here, right here. Yep, Thomas
Okay.
Valentine.
So this is Thomas Valentine at PFF's opinion.
Yes.
So let's just scroll down. Can you just scroll down like a little bit here? So let's see. I do think Brees Hall is good. I mean, I don't see how David Montgomery and Aaron Jones aren't equivalent players. I just don't.
He lists him as one of the most underrated backs in the NFL for some time. So I think he's got a little bit of an Aaron Jones crush.
It's not entirely possible.
But
like
yards after contact, which is also something that Montgomery is really good at.
The Lions have valued that exact thing. They value the ability to break tackles, and like I would bet you that in the Bijan Robinson write-up, they mention his ability to break tackles. And like you know whose record he broke in college for most broken tackles in an NCAA career? David Montgomery's.
Oh, did
So I mean, like the thing that Bijan Robinson is good at is the thing, like the record that he surpassed belonged to David Montgomery. Like David Montgomery is no bitch, and like he had 1,000-yard season last year. People want to say that Gibbs is the big play running back. Don't sleep on David Montgomery. Like David Montgomery ripped off a 75-yard touchdown run against the Chargers. That was, I think, I know I saw somewhere on the internet that they rated it the best individual run of the season. So I mean, like,
I see that.
I mean, in the NFL, clearly the best run of the season last year was Blake Corum in overtime against Alabama. But like, Najee Harris did nothing. He had to split time with Jaylen Warren. I mean, like, I just don't understand the reason why you would think that David Montgomery wasn't close to a top 10, especially when he did touchdowns, more than Gibbs.
Yeah, 4.6 yards per carry, both career highs, 80 80 grade.
That's excellent.
Blah blah blah. Montgomery is just as shifty, averaging 3.05 yards after contact per attempt, forcing 48 missed tackles, the second highest number of his career. Like
that's 3 a game.
And these are like when you go back to like
Kenneth Walker, or even they have Kenneth fucking Walker as a better running back.
Go green.
And I mean, sorry, I'm going to go ham on this for a second. Like, I like Raheem Mostert fine. Like, he is super fast. Like, he is a fucking Olympic track athlete that plays in the NFL. But Tony Pollard, fuck you. He didn't do his shit last year. Isaiah Pacheco, but like, come on. I mean, like, come on. I'm a David Gibbs or a David Montgomery, like, truther. Like, I will. Okay, what hill are we fighting on? I'll go fight on that hill for David Montgomery. That dude's great. That dude is great. And I really like watching him run. He's my kind of running back. And this is James Conner. I mean, I like James Conner, but no way. No way.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised. Even DeAndre Swift is
DeAndre Swift, that's a slap in the face, dude. Come on.
and to put Saquon Barkley at what, 5 or whatever? This one, I don't agree with this. I would have put them both in that 9-10 range. I would put Gibbs at like 9, Monty at 10. I put Swift in there at like either 8 or 11. Like I think he's in that same range, that same quality. Like I like Derrick Henry, but I would take either of our guys over him at this point. I think he's 47 years old now. I don't know. I just don't think that he is what he was 3 years ago, and they're ranking him as though he still is.
I mean,
Nick Chubb's great. I mean, I can't argue with that.
He just
Bijan Robinson had a great rookie year, but he still didn't even have the best. He wasn't the best graded. He didn't have the best stats. Devon Achane had the best grade, and Gibbs had better stats. So I think this is a little high. I didn't get to watch Brees Hall at all, so I don't know a ton about. Like, I haven't watched any of his games. But
because he's on the Jets, I mean, who wants to watch?
Yeah, who wants to watch the Jets? Then you're stuck watching Aaron Rodgers, except for last year.
Yeah, I do agree with Zako. I do think that Henry is still a beast. I think what got in Henry's way was that Tennessee has literally no other offensive skill position players. And so
Yeah,
like
I'm sure that doesn't help. Yeah.
eight guy boxes, the entire time. And but like I mean, we can move on because I don't want to talk about running backs all night, but like um yeah, I think David Montgomery is at worst 7 spots too low.
Yeah,
Yeah, didn't agree with that at all. I think the dude's an absolute beast. Okay.
I agree. Wide receivers. Where do you think our main two or our main two wide receivers are?
So are we calling we're calling JMO the second wide receiver?
Yeah, I mean, I
Uh,
can't imagine Khalif Raymond's on this list.
no. I think that
Saint.
I will say that they have St. Brown at 8, and I don't think JMO's on the list.
I would guess because I also haven't looked at the list, which is why I couldn't figure out where the hell David Montgomery was.
Sure.
I would guess he's at 6 on this list,
Okay.
and I also don't think JMO's on the list. JJ is tops. Ayuk and Samuel in the top 10. All right, so we got here. We got Jefferson. I agree. Tyreek Hill makes sense. Chase. CD Lamb at 4 is interesting. All right, so they got Devontae at 6, Amon-Ra at 7.
Okay. Split the difference. That's
Yeah.
fine.
I
All
mean,
right.
I'd take him over AJ Brown. I feel like Brown should just be bumped down to about like 9, and everybody else goes up a level. And then I'm right.
Well, that
Cooper Cup at 9 also seems a little bit low. Debo, that sounds about right. Stephon Diggs, DJ Moore, Puka Nakua, that seems about right for a 1 year. I wouldn't put him top 10 after just one season. But if he has another one like this, I mean, it's going to be hard to keep him out of the top 10. Garrett Wilson, Nico Collins, Devonta Smith, Hop, Terry McLaurin, Amari Cooper, Evans, Marvin Harrison Jr. They got it 21.
see, okay.
Hasn't played a day.
Disagree with that. I think he's at 11, Zaqua. I love Keenan Allen.
At 10.
Oh, he's right at 10. My mistake.
Yeah.
I apologize. Don't agree
I
with
think what
Malik
Zake was saying
Neighbors.
is he's not a top 10er.
I
I
understand.
think he's saying he's just Rome.
Yeah, so basically the 3 rookies that were in the top 10 in the draft. Interesting on Drake London. I think that is a real generous ranking at 26.
Perhaps not used as much as he could have been in Arthur Smith's offense.
Which was never. I mean, they used him as a decoy most of the time. Can I see 29 through 32?
Yep. Rome, Odunze, Pickens, Godwin, and T. Higgins.
Yeah,
this
I don't
seems
know.
a little low for Higgins.
Well,
But I mean, I wouldn't put him top 10, but I feel like 32 is a little low.
sure. I mean, he got paid more. I mean, I know he's on a tag, but like he got paid more than Pittman did in the offseason. He got paid more than Chris Godwin did. I mean, money is a sign of value, in the NFL. But
Ish.
yeah,
Depends on who's up next.
it does. And he is going to be, and he'll get paid. I don't know if the Bengals are the one that's going to be doing it, but he'll get paid.
Yeah.
So
for St. Brown, they said mid-round steal for the Lions. He's improved each year of his career. Has now had back-to-back seasons with a 90-plus PFF grade, which is elite. Yeah. He's dropped just 3.1% of catchable targets and may have the most reliable hands in the game. And I would agree with all of that.
Yeah, hard to argue. Not gonna. So yeah, I mean, and I think that it's appropriate that JMO's not on this list. I just don't think that he's. If you wanted to look at it like this, like he's not a number 1 receiver on any team in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
So not that all these guys are ones, but I think that like T. Higgins could be, I think there's a world that I think the Devonta Smith could be, Yeah,
if you're in the top 32, that means if you were on the worst team in the league, you're at least their number 1. If
Yeah.
everybody had one, if we split up the top 32, like you're going to be the number one on some team.
So this makes sense. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I think, I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown was an All-Pro this year, so that means that someone in the NFL thought he was a top 3 wide receiver. So, I mean, the other guys, there's 3 other guys on that list that, or 4 other guys on that list ahead of him that didn't make it.
Yeah.
So, but once again, I think this is about a little bit about potential, right? And as good as Amon-Ra St. Brown is, I don't know. I think that he is playing at the highest level that he can attain. And the question is
He's
going to be with
peaking,
him,
and hopefully he can plateau at the peak, right?
like how long can you maintain this, right? So I think that's the thing with him. Maybe I'm wrong. I would be happy to be wrong. So we'll see. Fingers crossed.
All right, tight end. Where do we think Laporte is at?
I'm going to say 2.
2. They've got George Kittle at 1.
I don't understand that at all.
Interesting.
I don't understand that at all.
The highest graded tight end in 2023 at an 87.7, while Kelsey finished second at 82.6. Kittle's run blocking grade also dwarfed Kelsey's 81.1 to 46.9. Kelsey's not a blocker. He's a slot receiver, more or less.
Yeah.
Big slot receiver. Mark Andrews at 3, Hawk at 4.
Disagree with that. Okay. I don't disagree with Mark Andrews at 3. I think that guy's an absolute beast. But TJ Hawkinson over Sam Laporta, I completely disagree with.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Hawkinson is bad, but like, I mean, even if you just wanted to be like, you're paying Sam Laporta what, and you're paying TJ Hawkinson to do what, and you're doing the same exact thing, like that has to say something in Laporta's favor. So I am disappointed with that ranking. I did not enjoy that. I think that Sam Laporta, I mean, like they do something called Tight End University.
Yeah.
And at that, it was Kittle asking Kelsey, like, who do you think the best is here? And Kelsey, to his credit, wasn't like, I'm the best, fuck everyone else. But like,
right.
He said, boy, Sam Laporta had a fucking year, didn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, like, so those are 1 and 2 on your list, talking about the dude that you had 5 on the list. Yeah. So, I mean, like, when the best people at that position in the league are talking about something like you're there. Like, he's Sam Laporta. For all the shit that I gave the pick when they picked him, like, Sam Laporta is there. He is an elite tight end in the NFL right now. You know, and like, if he's just what he was as a rookie, the rest of his career, or most of his career, he's a Hall of Famer. So he had 10 touchdowns last year.
Yeah, he's only one of 3 tight ends in NFL history to have caught at least 10 touchdowns in year 1. Ditka, Gronk, and Laporta. That's the end of the list. I do think that, like, you talked on the wide receiver side, you talked about potential, and that's why Rome Odunze is in there and Marvin Harrison Jr. Mm-hmm. I think there's also a little bit of, that can also work against you, I think, and I think that's why Sam's at 5. And I think it's more of a, okay, he had a great rookie year, but let's see him do it again. Like, Hawk had a couple really good years, right? He finished his previous year really good in Minnesota, signed the big contract, and he had a better grade than Laporta did last year. He played really well. So he had a couple back-to-back years that way. Laporta, he got 1. I'm betting this time next year, Sam Laporta is 1, 2, or 3. I think he's going to hop.
I'll bet he's 1.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's 1.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to hop Andrews and Hawkinson this time next year, because no longer is it we'll give him a really good grade or a good ranking because he had a good rookie year. Let's see what he does. I think he's going to show him what's going to happen, and I don't think they're going to hold him back like that.
Yeah, I think No, I'm just gonna end it on what you said. I think that pretty much is
Yeah.
right on. That's fine. It was
All
really
right.
good.
Offensive tackles. We've got two of them. Where do you think Decker and who's the other guy?
All right.
Sewell. Yeah. Some Sewell guy. I don't know.
So I'm gonna say, first of all, this is what I'll say. Penei Sewell's the best right tackle in the NFL. End of sentence. I think they will have him third, and I think that they will have Eric Decker like 16th because they've.
You were doing so good, Drew.
Did you look at this
Weeks
one?
and weeks. No, weeks and weeks and weeks without saying Eric Decker.
Oh
And
fuck! Really, Taylor Decker?
Yep.
Shit, I did it again. No, I messed up
It-
once. I messed up once while you were gone, and Joey called me out on it.
Nice. All right. I think they're going to have. Yeah. So Zaka says Decker top 15, Sewell 2. I think it's going to be Sewell 2, and I think Decker's going to be around 12. So I think I agree with Zaka. But let's see what we got here.
Oh, that's not a good sign.
Trent Williams, Tristan Wirfs. You got it right.
See, I would have thought it would have been Lane Johnson at 2.
Christian Darrisaw, interesting at 4. Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson's way down at 6.
Oh my God. But they're right.
You're terrible at this, Drew.
I'm bad.
I
mean, I got the player.
Smith.
I got the player that we were talking about, right? But other than that, I'm terrible. Tyron Smith at 7. Wrong.
Where would you put him?
Oh, way lower. He hasn't played. He has not played something like, what was it? 10 games a season for like the last 3 seasons. Like he's just hurt half the time now.
Yeah.
Like you can't do this. Like this very clearly is saying if he's completely healthy. And the dude just simply has not been for years, not 1 year or.
Well, last year he played 942 snaps.
Is most of played in the season since 2018. So the previous.
So the previous, he was not available, but this last year, he was best in pass protection.
I'll put another bet that he doesn't play 10 games this season.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll put
Slater at 9, Colton, Andrew Thomas, Tyrion Armstead, Taylor Decker 14.
I disagree with. Oh, interesting. I disagree with Tyrion Armstead at 12. Like he's hurt
durability
all the time too.
Again.
You know,
failed to reach 800 snaps in any of his last 3 seasons.
Yeah.
However, when he's on the field, he's still among the best left tackles in the league. But availability is one of the best abilities to have, right?
You can't knock it.
So I guessed 12. He's at 14.
I guess 16.
Zaka had him at
yeah. So
we'll call it we're pretty close.
Yeah, we split the difference again.
Horseshoes and hand grenades.
Right. I think that he's been real good. I mean, real good. You're not worried about him ever. Yep. You know, he's been beat up. You know, Frank Ragnow's been beat up. You know, but like they're out there doing it, and they're good when they're out there.
You know, PFF even says like even though he failed to reach the elite level at the position, he has become one of the most consistent left tackles in the NFL.
Yeah.
Finished top 10 in PFF grade for the first time in his career, 81.1 overall grade, ranked 9th at the position. Position was the 3rd highest grade of his career. So
I do think it's interesting they're not breaking this up by left and right. It's just straight tackles.
I think part of that is because it doesn't matter which side you're on as much as it was 5-8 years ago. Because you're just moving guys, right? So, guard. I'm not sure we're going to have... Well, I think maybe Zeitler, right?
No. They don't have one. There's not a guard on this list.
Lindstrom, Thuney, Tyler Smith.
How many players are on
Zeitler.
The list? You're kidding me.
We got Zeitler at 6. Said earned his first Pro Bowl nod last year. Long overdue accolade.
He's going into like his 14th season.
Consistently been one of the best pass blocking guards in the NFL since he was drafted by the Bengals in 2012.
Wow.
2012, that was 12 years ago. Jesus. After 3 years with the Ravens, he joins the Lions and will become an integral part of an already stellar offensive line. 82.5 PFF pass blocking in 23, ranked second, and his pass blocking grade has dipped below 70 only once in his career.
Yeah, he's been good for a really, 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 really long time. But I don't think that he is better. Go back up, scroll back up to 11.
Quentin Nelson.
Come on, really?
First team All-Pro.
There's just no way.
3 times. Injury, slowly working back to his previous levels. He was 15th overall last year. I mean, if he, I didn't watch the Colts at all, but no, I guess that kind of makes sense if he was injured and he didn't play as well last year. But it'll be interesting to see how he does this year.
Insanity.
Tevin Jenkins, Brandon Scherf.
He should not be on the list. You're fucking kidding me. Tevin Jenkins is on the list.
Oh, Elton Jenkins.
Oh, not Tevin. So not the Bears guy.
Oh yeah, Tevin Jenkins. Right.
There's no way, dude. Like this guy has done. He had like a decent year last year and has done nothing since. He's been hurt. Up like this. That was his 3rd season. He got drafted. Yeah. No, it's his 4th season. He got drafted in the same year as Fields.
2021.
Yeah. So 21, 22, and 23. So he's going into his 4th season.
Yeah. He allowed just 17 quarterback pressures in 12 games last year.
Because his fucking quarterback was out of the pocket the whole time. He rushed for 1,000 yards. Oh, this guy. I don't like this guy. All right, keep going.
Yeah. James Daniels, Alex Kappa, Daniel Brunskill, Will Hernandez, Ezra Cleveland, Connor McGovern.
None of these guys.
I almost said Connor McDavid.
Oh, don't
Graham Glasgow, 27. We had a second one.
Interesting.
All right.
Okay.
Veteran, 75.1 overall in 16 games, 8th highest among all guards. His run block of 82.1 was 5th.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Looks good.
I was wrong.
Center.
2.
I think you're probably right there. Creed Humphreys hangs on the top spot. Ragnow's at number 2.
I'll be here all week, ladies and gentlemen.
Fully healthy, highest grade among all centers, best run blocking center in the NFL since 2018 with a 90.1 run blocking grade.
And he's hurt most of the time. But like Creed Humphrey
has been fully healthy the last 2 seasons. What that means is he played all the games. Right? Yeah, he's not fully healthy. He just played all the games.
Tell me you don't follow what the fuck is going on in Detroit by telling me you don't follow what the fuck is going on in Detroit. Right? Like, come on, dude. Yeah, all right, whatever. But like,
yeah, he just looked at number of games played, right? Yeah, and snaps.
100%. So like, if you go back to the playoffs and you watch Creed Humphrey snap the ball to Patrick Mahomes, there's no way he should be the number 1 overall guy. Like they are talking about moving him to guard in Kansas City because of the troubles.
Clear best center in the NFL.
100% wrong.
I don't even know Thomas Valentine again.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure that this guy did all of these rankings, but like, I'm thinking that this one he waited till the end and was like, I've had 2 gin and tonics, and I need to finish off centers. Oh, Creed Humphrey, everyone knows that name. Bullshit.
All right, edge defenders. Where's Hutch?
I'm gonna say 6.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I gotta say something different now.
No, you don't. Just say 6. Why do you have
to
say
I'm gonna say 6.
Fine.
Well, now I look like I'm copying you.
But you're not.
All right. I know. Myles Garrett. He's even gets a slotting it at number 6 on the list.
Oh shit, dude! No way.
Up 101 quarterback pressures.
I didn't read these articles.
Oops, stop it. So Miles Garrett, Micah
Yep.
Parsons,
Yep.
Nick Bosa, TJ
Yep.
Watt, Max
Hang on.
Crosby, Aiden Hutchinson.
Here's the thing about TJ Watt that needs to be said out loud. TJ Watt faces the least amount of double teams of any tier 1 edge rusher on this list.
Yeah.
Go see. I mean, like, Miles Garrett has something like a 39% double team rate, and like TJ Watts is like 17.
Yeah, and Hutch is in the top 3 for the most double teams.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're not double teaming Micah Parsons. You're not double teaming Nick Bosa. You're not double teaming Agent Hutchinson. Why are you single blocking TJ Watt?
Yeah,
like, that's a question.
Miles Garrett had a 94.7 pass rush grade.
The dude's elite.
27.3% pass rush win rate, one of the highest marks in PFF history.
And that win rate, I think gets undervalued. Yeah.
Yeah. So good to see Hutch there. I don't think there's probably any other Lions on here. Joey Bosa, the other Bosa. Donnell Hunter, former Minnesota Viking.
His name. Yeah.
Will Anderson, not bad.
That dude might be in the tier with the guys we just talked about after this season. That dude is amazing.
Brian Burns, Montez Sweat,
Brandon Graham. Forever on the list. Eagles. Forever on the list. Went to Michigan.
Still getting it done.
Oh my God.
At ages 34 and 35.
Just a workhorse.
Andrew Van Ginkel, Rousseau, Jadeveon Clowney's still on the list at 30. Kayvon Thibodeau.
Should be lower.
29.
He had 11.5 sacks.
He did.
And I'm shocked.
His pass rush win rate dropped from 9.5%.
How did he get 11 sacks? He beats the dude in front of him 6.5% of the time.
And he only produced 3 more pressures despite playing 111 more pass rush snaps from the previous year.
So glad we didn't draft that clown.
At
least he's playing chess in the park. Oh, 32. True. Look at that.
Marcus Davenport. There he is. All right.
It's a pin vote right there.
Missed due to ankle injury before having the worst year of his career grades-wise. He's in a new spot now. Hope is he can return to that form with the Lions. It'd be good. I mean, you got somebody elite on the other side. Hopefully that opens up for him. All right, interior defensive line. We've got Aleem McNeil and DJ Reader potentially on this list.
Let's see. I'll say that 1 is Chris Jones, 2 is Dexter Lawrence. I'll say Aleem McNeil. I can't really think of anybody. I'm going to say Aleem McNeil is 6th.
Okay.
I'll say DJ Reader is 11th.
I've got 7 and 11.
Okay.
Chris Jones takes over for Aaron Donald. Chris Jones, Dexter Lawrence, good catch, good call. Quinn Williams.
Yeah, okay.
Derek Brown.
Cam Hayward, who never ages. Oh, DeForest Buckner, sure.
2011 draft pick was Cam Hayward.
The dude has been the absolute model of consistency. And he's something like, he's always up for like Walter Payton Man of the Year. I mean, the guy is just amazing.
Yeah.
I hate that he went to Ohio State, but the dude has been an unbelievable pro.
DeForest Buckner, Javon Hargrave.
Okay.
Jeffrey Simmons.
Okay.
Jalen Carter. I'm actually a little surprised Carter's down at 9.
This will always make me angry. This will always make me angry.
Christian Wilkins, Justin Matabuke.
All right.
Barmore, DJ Reader at 13.
Oh, interesting.
We were actually really close on that. I picked 11 and you picked 10, right?
I picked 11. We both picked 11.
Oh, we picked yeah, that's right.
I picked 6 and you picked 7 for McNeil, which I think that this is low for him.
There, 15. So they got 13 and 15.
I think playing next to Reader, you're going to see Aleem McNeil be like, who is this guy? Oh, that's McNeil? Oh, weird.
Yeah. Says if McNeil is not done improving, he could shoot up these rankings with an even better 2024.
It's weird how they went out on a limb and like, hey, if they play better, they'll get ranked higher. I mean, that is some risk.
Yeah. Yeah, Kobe Turner at 16. He's going to take over the inside from Aaron Donald. It'll be interesting to see how much of like what he did last year, was it because he was playing next to Donald, or was it because he's really fucking good? It'll be very clear this year since Donald is not going to be next to him.
Right.
Leonard Williams. There's not going to be any other Lions here, so we're just going to scroll through some of these just to make sure. Yeah. All right. Linebacker. Where do you think Anzalone is, and where do you think the mighty Jack Campbell is?
I don't think Campbell's on the list.
What? He was an 18th overall first round draft choice, Drew.
Okay. I'll say that Anzalone is 14th.
I'm thinking Anzalone is going to be in the early 20s. I'd say 23.
All right.
Fred Warner sits atop the list. Roquan Smith from Baltimore. That sounds right. Mario Davis, Matt Milano, C.J. Mosley.
Mm-hmm.
Devontae David, Patrick Queen.
Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
Leave that one to Drew to say.
He went to Notre Dame, so I know how to say his name.
T.J. Edwards. Bobby, Tremaine Edmonds, Quincy, Jermaine Pratt, Nick Bolton, Devin Lloyd.
No way in hell. No way in hell is Devin Lloyd. No way is Devin Lloyd. That high. No, wrong. I'm done.
He had a 90.3 PFF grade.
No.
In run defense. And his coverage grade jumped to a 67.8.
Oh. Well,
Jelani Tavai.
They took him off the field at times because they signed other players to play the same position as him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, just don't agree at all. Yeah. That's horrible. Yeah, good job, Jelani Tavai, and a long line of players from the Lions to the Patriots and got better.
21, 22. Well, I picked, 22, I think. So, Ivan Pace Jr., undrafted rookie. Let's keep scrolling and scrolling. Nope. Neither of them made the top 32.
I would disagree on that for Anzalone. I'm not surprised at all about Campbell.
Yeah, Bobby Wagner, he's a little old now, so maybe 20 is about right. I figured he'd be a little bit higher. But no Lions on the linebacker side. Cornerbacks. We don't really have much in the way of cornerbacks anymore. So, at least Davis. From last year's Lions.
Yeah, they're all new.
So, Carlton Davis.
Vildor.
Kindle Vildor.
Is the only returning. Amik Robertson, Terrion Arnold, Rakestraw, Davis. So, Vildor's the 5th, you know. He might not even make the team.
Sauce is 1.
That's a shock.
Jesus,
he's 13 too.
First, second, 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 first, second. That's what his rank is in like every fucking category.
He's really good. He's really good.
Trent McDuffie is 2.
That's just
Charvarius Ward.
Really?
Surtain is 4.
I wish they would say what they're basing this on.
So for Ward, it seems to get lost in the debate when it comes to naming the best cornerbacks, but he's quietly put up the 3rd best coverage grade over the past 2 years. Perhaps it's the overall strength of the 49ers team, the number of other superstars who overshadow him, or the fact he plays on the West Coast, but he deserves more love. Jalen Johnson for the Bears. Jalen Ramsey still up there at 6. Jair Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
He's real good. Darius Williams for the Rams. Snead. That was one of the big potential trade things, right, during the offseason.
Yep.
Brian Branch, number 13.
Interesting.
So Branch made his presence known on the opening night of the 23 season by taking an interception to the house. while he had some of his usual rookie year rookie year ups and downs, his overall play was exceptional for a first year player. Finished with a 77.7 coverage grade and had the seventh best season by the advanced metrics. Lions drafted themselves a steal in the second round, which you and I were both guessing him in that like 15, 16,
I had him
17
at the
overall,
18. I
right?
mocked him at 18 for like a month
Yeah.
leading up to the draft.
Let's see what else. Any other Lions on here? Carlton Davis at number 22. Like seeing more than one.
Yeah.
Often tasked with tracking the opposing team's top receiver, which never results in high grades. The advanced metrics look more kindly on him, though, as he ranks 18th there over the past 2 years.
You know, and if he's the 22nd best corner in the NFL, welcome to Detroit. I'm thrilled to have you.
Yep.
So, hang on, go back up. What is this?
Slade dropped to 28.
Oh, this is his time with Detroit.
Yeah. Yeah, this is his year. So his time with Detroit. So we might have seen the cliff for Slay as his 65.4 coverage grade marked the 3-year low, while the advanced metrics look even worse.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and like the Quentin Glover, Darius Slay, all those like beloved defensive backs that like the who's the coach, the last coach? Patricia. Like, cut or got rid of or whatever, and they always talk shit about like the Lions or whatever. Fuck them.
Yeah.
I don't need you. Like,
yeah,
I just don't. I'm happy that you're in Philadelphia, and also please shut the fuck up. Like,
J.C. Horn, Joey Porter Jr.
J.C. Horn would be a top 10 corner if he could just not get hurt, but he is hurt all the time.
Well, let me read what PFF says, Drew.
Yeah.
If Horn can stay healthy, he has the potential to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL.
I'm just saying, like, I don't get paid to do this, you know?
See, you guys get this free content from us, and it's just as good as these guys. So
yeah, it's real close.
All right, last but not least, safety.
See, I might have called Brian Branch a safety. And but they're not going to. So this is Kirby Joseph. I'm going to say,
yep.
See, a lot of the guys that I might have put ahead of him are free agents right now. So I'm going to say Kirby Joseph is 14th.
All right. I figured he's right around 20.
Okay.
All right. So we've got Antoine Winfield, Kyle Hamilton, Jesse Bates.
You know, hang on real quick.
Yeah.
I think that Ahmad Gardner and Kyle Hamilton were in the same draft class. But if the Lions, if Aiden Hutchinson was taken at number 1 overall by Jacksonville, which I still to this day have no idea why they did that, either one of those dudes would have been. I mean, I argued against drafting Kyle Hamilton that highly, but like if you put him at slot corner, corner.
Well, he was a linebacker.
He was
right. That was what his position was.
Safety. He was a deep safety. I
thought he was listed as a linebacker.
No, well, he can play linebacker. He's that big.
Yeah.
But like, he played deep safety at Notre Dame, and everybody was like, "Oh, he can run sideline to sideline. Look at this play from FSU, or whatever." And like, yeah, that was neat. But like, he also plays next to Roquan Smith.
That helps.
Which, I mean, like, you can argue that he's a third linebacker. I mean, they have ultra athletic linebackers in Baltimore, but like, you know, whatever.
See what we got here. Xavier McKinney for the Packers we have to go up against. Tyrann Mathieu, Jabril Peppers, Budda Baker, Harrison Smith. I'm disappointed that we haven't seen his name yet. Hello?
Julian Love for real? Really? Okay, that's disappointing. Like, just the amount of like turnovers that he has generated in his 3 years on the team, I think would have warranted inclusion here.
Yeah,
and like,
I wonder how much of this is just because our defense has been as a whole so bad up
Oh, I
until
would.
the last half of last year, right? Like it really started gelling as the year went on, but like before I think we just get overlooked on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, so PFF has not been kind to Kirby Joseph. So in 2022, they gave him an overall score of 64. This year, they gave him a score of 56. He has a 50 coverage grade, but a 72 run defense grade. And the biggest thing about Kirby, in my opinion, is that he does not enjoy tackling at all.
Yeah.
He likes
I'll
to
launch myself at you, but if you don't go down,
right. Like
damn.
he is not like Brian Branch is like a like Brian Branch is the kind of dude that's going to come up and like hug your legs together and take you to the ground. And
Yeah.
Kirby wants the quarterback to throw the ball in the air and he wants to go catch the ball. Like they are completely different types of defensive backs. So
Yeah. Well, that was the list. Those were all the positions. We have a lot of guys pretty high up on the list, which was awesome to see. But we got some room to grow.
they're going to grow. That's really the kind of the nice thing about where this team is right now is that you have guys, lots of guys in rookie deals who are developing into top players in their position groups. And I don't know what they want Kirby Joseph to do or Anzalone to do, to make the top 32 at their position. But like, I absolutely think that each of those guys is in the top 32 at their position. And fuck you for rating David Montgomery so lowly. I mean, like, I just don't forgive that. I just don't forgive that one. So
Right on. Yeah, I disagree with that one as well. I would have put him quite a bit higher.
yeah, I mean, like, if you're gonna watch that dude play football, it just was too low for me. I'm unhappy about it.
Yeah. Anything else before we head out?
Nope.
FYI, I don't know when I'm going to be coming back on Tuesday. I'm going to be in DC, leaving for DC on Friday. We're going to be meeting with some Amazon Web Services leadership at their HQ2 over in Arlington, Virginia, Monday, Tuesday, flying back. So hopefully I will be back for you, Drew. I don't know when my flight gets in. So FYI.
All right. Thank you for letting me know, Mike. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And for everybody else, appreciate you guys, all the folks in the comment section, Zeka and Pat, and Dr. D, Joey, and even Kathy popped in. Yep. So appreciate you guys and
good turnout,
ladies. Yeah. So have a fantastic rest of your week.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.